Okay guys, hello, welcome back to my channel. So I am with my friend Maya.
Hey y'all.
So listen, I thought about this because when we said we was gonna do a video together, I was like, how am I gonna introduce her? And I'm like, you know what, I have the perfect introduction. So let me tell y'all how we met.
Oh goodness.
So we met, okay, if you watch my last story time, and I was like, you know, I got up and I went to the apartment or whatever, and I was like, his roommate and his best friend opened the door, and the best friend was like, oh, well, he said, oh snap. He said, oh, shit, but I said, oh snap. That was her boyfriend who said, oh snap. That was her boyfriend. So and I also mentioned, I was like, you know, she panned around the room and it was a girl in the corner twerking. She was actually the girl in the corner twerking. That you didn't know that?
I thought it was somebody else, but so you saw me at this kickback, you didn't see me.
So she was a witness to everything that went down there. Well, not everything, but what happened. So anyways, that's how we met. We met through, both of our boyfriends were friends at the time, and we met through them. And ironically, we're not with them anymore, but we're still friends.
Right. So it worked.
Yeah,
there
really
was a reason for the season.
It was. So she's my guest today, and I have like, we're gonna talk about like relationships. We're gonna do like a little girl chit chat one night. I got mine. Okay,
this is
so
Pinot Grigio. If you ain't into it, get into it.
oh, that's my favorite kind of wine. It smells so good. Let me taste it. Right.
It's actually pretty good. I like it, and I like
Okay.
it lukewarm too.
Anyway, so I text her and I'm like, let's talk about relationships. And when I said that, I was like, not just like romantic ones though, like, I mean, because we done been through a lot, okay? We done been through some stuff. I know that she's been through a lot too, just not like romantic relationships, but like family and friends and stuff like that, and so have I. So I was like, you know, we got a little bit of experience. We can talk about it a little bit. So my first question is, what do you think the most important thing is that you learned from your past romantic relationship?
That's a good question. I feel like I learned different things from every like past serious romantic relationship. So like I only count relationships 18 forward, so anybody prior to then, I'm so sorry. You do not count. But if I'm going 18 forward, I would say, okay, first relationship, like serious relationship, I feel like I learned the most about myself. It wasn't some good things. It was some unpacking. But I feel like I learned that I can be a little like anxiously attached to people. In a relationship at least, I feel like. So I feel like I have a little bit of like an anxious attachment style. And I feel like the second relationship, so the next one after that, I learned more about like what I don't want in a man. Like, so the first one I learned more about like what I need more for myself for a successful relationship. The second one, what I don't need from a man for the relationship to be successful, and what I do need from a man.
Oh
so
my gosh, that's crazy, because that's exactly what I would literally say the same thing. Like my first relationship, I was in it like off and on for a really long time, and I really didn't understand like the value, everything that I brought to the table. I didn't understand how important I was and how much I needed things that I just wasn't getting, and like kind of making excuses for why I wasn't getting it.
Yeah. So
I just learned a lot about myself and the value that I hold in a relationship. And then my second like kind of long-term relationship that I had, I learned what I did not like in a human being. And not to say like my second relationship really made me like really angry. I was really, no, seriously, like every time I thought about him, I'm just like, oh, he pissed me off so bad.
I can say the same thing though.
Yeah.
I feel like that. I feel like when you with a man who not doing what he needs to do, it just makes you mad. Because you feel like you're just wasting your time. Especially when you're a woman who, you know what you want. Like, you know what you need in addition to you to like make the relationship work, and he's just not able to provide that. It's just like, what are we doing?
Right.
Like, I got to that point where I was just like, I don't like you as a human. Like, I genuinely don't like you as a, not even just as my man. But we're not compatible. I don't like you as a person. So it's just like, what are we doing?
I just felt like, okay, it really, when you tell somebody things that you have gone through in a relationship and then they come back and do like some of the same stuff that you told them about, and it's just like, why would you do that? You know I already went through that. And he would be like, well, you're not giving me room because you're comparing me to somebody else. And to a certain degree, I can understand that, and that was like a fault of mine. And I can see that now, like looking back on what I should have done. Because for me, I'm never like you. Even though I do believe 9 times out of 10 it was their fault, but I do always want to say, okay, well, what did I do? What could I have done better? You know what I'm saying? To like help the relationship, because I know it's not. It's a partnership. I mean, it's a relationship, so it takes two. Like, I always want to get better. I always want to be my best self, and if I'm not, then I want to know like what could I have done better?
Yeah, I feel.
She's like, no.
Yes, I agree with all of that. I feel like my last relationship in particular, it's just something about being like, we just were unequally young. Like, I feel like I was wearing the pants in the relationship.
Oh, yeah.
So like, I was giving more masculine energy, and anybody who knows me knows that I'm not a masculine energy person by any means. I'm very much a soft girl. So it's just like, if I'm feeling like I'm giving the masculine energy in a relationship, there is a huge problem. And it took me too long to realize that. I think, and you know what? I want to talk about this. I want to talk about this. And if you have not watched the new season of Love is Blind, I'm so sorry. Spoiler alert, please skip ahead. But everybody been talking. I don't know if you watched Love is Blind or not.
I don't watch. I've been hearing about it. Maybe I need to get into it.
You need to watch it.
I got something new I can watch.
Everybody be talking about Marshall and Jackie, and Marshall is basically like this self-proclaimed good guy. Self-proclaimed, I'm such a good guy, I'm such a good person, to the point where he was letting this girl like run over him. And everybody knows that Jackie did him dirty in the end. I'm not saying that Jackie didn't do him dirty, but
is that the one who gave the ring that wouldn't get the ring back? Okay, I seen that on Twitter.
Her. So yeah, she did do him greasy. I'm not gonna lie. However, Marshall did not stand up for himself, I feel like, enough. And I've been in that situation in my last relationship where I was with a guy because he was just a good guy, quote unquote. And that's not always enough. Like, I don't want to be with a guy just because he's a self-proclaimed good guy, or just because his friends are saying he's a good guy. That's not enough to be in a relationship with somebody and for it to be successful. Like, if we're genuinely not compatible, we're just not compatible. Like, it kind of is what it is. Like, that's not my vibe. So I learned in that relationship that just being a good guy, and I know I'm gonna get some heat for this, or being a good man is not good enough.
No, like, I agree, because he can be a good person, but he might not be good for you.
Well, okay, I think that's a lot of people's problem, and why relationships in this generation don't work is because people don't want to love people how they need to be loved. Yeah. They want to love people how they want to love. It does not work like that.
I agree.
Like, if somebody, like me, for instance, I'm a huge introvert, to the point where it's just like, I can be extroverted, I can be around people a lot, but if I need my time to recharge and don't want to talk to nobody, be left alone, don't come over here, don't look at me, don't touch me, don't breathe on me, I need that time. Like, that is very important to me. So even in relationships, it's like, I might need 2-3 nights to sleep alone. And that needs to be okay with you. You don't
need to be throwing no tantrums because I don't want you to spend the night.
Exactly. So it's just like, you have to learn to love your partner in their love language and not how you want to love them. Physical touch is probably like number 3 for me.
Well, what is your first?
Acts of service.
Acts of service. I can see that. Mine is
it's a big one.
Gifts. Every time I told somebody recently, and they were like, it's giving gold digger. But no,
that doesn't equate to gold digger or anything like that. It's just, that's what like makes your heart warm when somebody went out of their way to get you something that they feel like you would really like.
Really small. All right, I fixed it. Sorry, I was probably blurry that whole time, but my bad, I didn't see. I wear glasses. Y'all know if you see my vlogs, I wear glasses. So anyway, what was I saying?
Love. Wait, what was talking about? Love?
Yeah, we was talking about love languages.
Gifts.
Oh, and I feel like it's because my dad is not a person. I was raised by my dad, and he's not a person, which we're going to get into that in a second. I got to move on to my next question in a minute. But I was raised by my dad, and he's a man. And he's not the type, like, if he do something to you, he's really not the type to say, oh, I'm sorry I did that. I should have never did that. He's more like, here you go, I got you something. F the apology. Not even just he would do something, but just him being him, he would always bring me stuff. So now I kind of expect that from my relationship. And I'm the type of person, like, if you do something, it's like, damn that apology. Don't apologize to me. Because I really don't care. If you bring me a bowl of fruit or something, then I'm like, oh, I know you're real sorry. I know. You must be sorry because you brought that to me. I really like that for real. And I'm working on accepting apologies because I'm real bad. I'm like, them words to me. Them is words. I need some action. I need you to give me that $50 gift card. So, we both grew up in single parent homes. So, how do you think that has affected you in like your romantic relationship?
Girl. It's only been most recently that I've noticed how much it's affected me. Because I feel like growing up, it just seemed like the norm. And it's not.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that disclaimer. It's not the norm. But to me, it was, because that's mostly what I've seen in my family is like single mothers. You know, like I have a couple marriages, but like mostly single mothers. So it was like when I really started getting into serious relationships where I realized that like that's not the norm. When I'm dating somebody who does come from a 2-parent household. Yeah. It's a totally different experience. Like, and people don't even realize how much like your upbringing and your childhood, like how that transfers into like even your platonic relationships, like platonic and any type of relationship that you're in, it affects that. Like how you were loved by your parents has a lot to do with how you're gonna like navigate any type of love in life, friend or romantic. So it's so different because I just feel like I don't know, the way I think about things is like so much different than somebody who came from a 2-parent household. And it's just like I'm navigating in life from a whole different lens than they are. Yeah. Because when you don't have one parent who is active, there is a lot of that lack thereof that you're now. It almost feels like at some point like you're playing catch up from what you missed from whatever parent it was, mom or dad. And it's just like whether that was certain type of attention or whether that was, financial help. Like you're playing catch up in some way, shape, or form of fashion. And then somebody who comes from a 2-parent household, it's just like they don't see how that can affect you all the time because they didn't come from it. And that's okay. Like I don't expect anybody to relate to my experiences if you don't relate. If you don't relate, you just don't relate. But I think it's like that person has to be more sensitive to the other person's traumas, and that can be hard to do. So with me, I realized like how much childhood trauma I still have. Yeah. Dating someone who's in a 2-parent household, and I'm just like, damn, like. Yeah. My situation is a little bit different. Maya, you really did grow up in a single parent. Like it was just you and your mom. Yeah, I'm an only child, so I don't even have siblings. Yeah, so it was literally just me and my mama. Yeah.
And for me, it was a little bit different. I grew up. My dad had a significant other, and I pretty much grew up in that household. But I didn't get the love, a motherly love from her. So it was to me it was the equivalent of being in a single parent home, because in that home my dad was the only person that provided for me, did everything for me still. And he wasn't married they didn't get married until I graduated high school, and they were together since I was like 4 or 5 years old. So anyway, it was a long time, but I was in that house, and you know, I felt very much alone whenever he wasn't there. Parents make mistakes, and I feel like that's the hardest thing, like as a child coming into being an adult, having to deal with the mistakes your parents made. Because it's like now you have to try to navigate and figure out how to do things that you just were not given,
because you're responsible for, like, your parents at a certain age, especially at the age that we're at right now. Like, this is when you really start realizing that your parents are humans. Like, when you're a kid, you just look at your parent like, this is your parent. Why don't you know everything? Why can't you figure out what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
And then when you get to this age and you're just like, they were our age once.
Yeah.
When they were humans.
Yeah.
So how we're navigating life, they were going through the same struggles and different things like that. So that's why I've had to, I put that lens on when I think about my mom now, because my mom had me at a really young age. My mom had me when she was 19.
Same.
So it was just like, if I'm 24 and my mom, when she was my age, she had a whole toddler running around.
Yeah.
Like, I give my mom more grace now, because I know how hard it must have been for her to be a single parent at 24 years old. And even my dad, with him not being in my life and not being involved at all, I still even give him grace.
Same.
You know, he didn't make the best decisions at the age that he did, but I still give him grace. And, you know, in the event that he ever wanted a relationship, I wouldn't even be opposed to it, because I'm at a space where I'm at now. It's just like, at the end of the day, like, I understand that my parents are humans, and like, these are the cards I was dealt. This is like, I'm not getting another set of parents. Like, this is it. I'm here, and that's all. At some point, you do, and it sucks. When I say it sucks real hard, but you are responsible for your own traumas and triggers. And that's what I had to realize. Like, especially dating somebody who comes from a very loving 2-parent household, I realized I was very triggered. Like, I was very triggered by that, because that was something that I always wanted that I never had. And when it started triggering me, I thought I was crazy. But it's like, I'm not crazy. It's just that, you know, it's fair for that to be a trigger for me, but it's also not fair for me to like put that off on my partner necessarily.
It's really like your responsibility.
It's my responsibility to be able to like heal from that and like start that healing process, whatever that's gonna look like. You know, I technically do have a 2-parent household now.
Yeah.
I think the reason why it's been hard for me to see it that way is because I still have like this void of my biological father, just like that relationship. So I feel like until I at least have some sort of, I guess, closure with that, whatever that's gonna look like, whether it's we just not gonna have a relationship and I just accept that, or we can at least be, you know, conversational. It's hard for me to accept the love from another man who's, you know, now my stepdad, when I never even got that like initial love. So it's just like, I don't know, it's kind of weird.
You don't know how to, and it's like
I don't know how to have it.
Yes.
Like, I never had one growing up. My mom and him started dating when I was in high school. So it's like now,
you don't know how to go
I don't
about
know how to operate this relationship. Like a father-daughter relationship, I don't know what that looks like. I don't know how that works. Adult relationships, it's all about intentionality.
Yeah.
Every relationship, platonic, romantic, even with your family. If you don't see your family that often, you need to be intentional about linking up on them holidays. You need to be intentional about being with your friends once a month. You have to be intentional about your relationships when you're an adult. Like, so it's just like, it's just something that you gotta do, and
we learned that coming from college, because we all went to college together. So we're just like, we're used to, I'm gonna go to my house, we finna go over here, we finna go over here, we finna go over here, and we were together like almost every day, at least every day. So coming from that, going to adulthood and not really ever seeing each other, because life get real.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
I gotta pay the bills.
Personally, when I'm like having a lot going on in my life and I feel overwhelmed, I can get distant.
Me too.
And I don't intend to do it.
Yeah.
It just happens that way.
Same.
Like there's literally no intention behind it. It's just that when I'm overwhelmed, I just need silence. Like I just need to be by myself and figure out everything. And sometimes I feel like if I don't got everything figured out, I can't hang out. I can't do this. Like I just feel that way. And I realize that's not good. You need to have time to like be with your friends, be with your people, be with your family and stuff like that. And you have to be intentional about it. So,
and you know what people say, like I've heard so many married couples say that communication is key in a relationship, and that is for every relationship.
I hate to say this, but I feel like you're not enough of my friend to at least hear me out. You know what I'm saying? Like, because everybody has different ways of interpreting things. So like if Tori tells me that I made her feel away because I said this or I did this, I'm not gonna tell Tori that's not right or no I didn't, because I don't know how that made you feel.
And you know what? That's something that I have said in my relationships, and I'm learning that now. It's like in friendships as well. I used to say this all the time to my ex, like you can even, like it might not be that big of a deal to you, but if it's a big deal to me, then you have to put your feelings to the side to address how it's making me feel, and the same vice versa. I might be like, it's really not that big of a deal in my head, but if it's that big a deal to you, then as your partner, as your friend, as your sister, brother, whoever, I need to put my feelings to the side to address how it's making you feel. Because obviously if you brought it to me, it's a big deal. And you know, I've always felt like my feelings, and I feel like that's why I have always like just shut down, because I always felt like I can relate, because I always feel like, oh, if I tell somebody that, they're gonna be like, it's not that big of a deal.
I feel like it's because we're water signs.
Probably.
Cancer, Scorpios. Like Cancers, we're very out. We wear our feelings on our sleeves. So we're very outward.
I don't.
About our emotions and about our feelings. Scorpios, y'all are just as sensitive. I don't care what anybody says.
I am.
Y'all just don't show it.
Yes.
Y'all walk around with a hard body, but y'all are actually on the inside very sensitive.
I'm gonna cry, but I'm gonna cry in the room with those.
So I will cry in front of my friends. And even sometimes I feel weird crying in front of y'all, because all of my friends are like these super hard bodies. So I just be like, damn, like if I can't cry in front of y'all, then who can I cry in front of? Like,
and we can't go to Jesus. If we can't go to Bella, don't say that.
Then where the hell can we go? Like, I don't know what's going on. Let me tell y'all. I just feel like you need to be conscious of people's triggers. Not meaning that you need to tiptoe around this person, but like if I know that your relationship with your mom is a trigger, I'm going to make sure that I'm conscious of that, because I don't want to trigger you, right? If you know that my relationship with my dad is a trigger, you know what I'm saying? Like those are things to be mindful of. So that's what I'm saying. Like in relationships, you have to be mindful of other people, and you have to like be considerate of things outside of you. Like, you know, even when you're talking about certain things, like sometimes, you know, my boyfriend can talk about things like with his parents and stuff like that, and how much they support him and stuff like that, and how, you know, how that two-parent camaraderie, what that looks like. And he might not realize that it may be triggering for me, because he's just talking. It ain't his fault he got loving parents. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not his fault. Yeah. But it is, you know, it would be great, you know, for him to be conscious of it, you know, but it's also my responsibility to monitor that trigger, which is why I'm in therapy. Get you some.
So I have one last question, and you know, okay, so how was it, because I know that you have this and I do too, having siblings outside of your home and like trying to develop that relationship?
Ooh, I'm still, so are we talking about like biological siblings or step siblings?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Cause you have both.
I have both.
I have both too, but I forgot you have both.
Biological siblings on my dad's side, and I have 2 step siblings from my stepdad. It's really weird. I will start with my step siblings. So we all were pretty older when our parents got married. Like, I was a sophomore in college. My stepsister was in high school. My stepbrother was like almost out of high school, about to start his freshman year of college. So like, even still now, it's just like we just see each other on holidays, and it's just like, hey, what's up? Like, hey, how you doing? Like, it's not like a super close relationship. I do try to be more intentional about my relationship with my stepsister because she's younger than me and she just started college. So like, I definitely want to be like a resource for her. Like, I want to be somebody she feels like she can come to and talk to and stuff like that. Yeah, she does. She does. She accepts it. And I think that's why it's easier. Like, I tell her, like, if you ever need anything, reach out to me. Like, as far as like your whole college journey and stuff like that, or just in general, like relationships. She's in a relationship right now, so like, I'm very big on, like, I don't gatekeep anything I've went through, and I'm a very open person. Nothing that I've ever went through, if it's tea for you, cool, but it was a testimony for me, and I don't have a problem sharing that with the next person so that they can learn from it. I've always been that way. So when it comes to my stepsister, with her like being in college now and now being in a relationship and all this shit that I went through in college, especially in regards to relationships, if I can help her in any way, I'm going to. Like, that's just that on that. So with her, it's a little different. My stepbrother, I barely see him too often, so it's like when I do see him on holidays, it's cool, whatever. Now my biological siblings, it's a little it's a little different because I have 3 sisters on my dad's side, 1 older and 2 younger, and me and my older sister, she's only a year older than me, so we probably talk the most. And I would say, like, most recently we've really been trying to be more intentional about like communicating and stuff like that because we're so close in age. And my younger sisters, I've been away from them so long with me living here and them being in Chicago, so it was just like, now I would love to develop a relationship with them because I never want them to feel like their big sister doesn't care about them or anything like that. Granted, I don't have a relationship with our dad, and I think it's gonna start there for me to feel more comfortable having a relationship with them. That's something I've, like, this year I said I want to be more intentional about, because I do actually have biological siblings and I want them to know me. I want us to at least try to formulate like a closer relationship.
I understand that. My situation is, I have a 1 step sibling and I have 5 biological siblings. I have 1 on my dad's side and I have 4 on my mom's side. And there's a huge age gap between me and my little brother. My little brother is 8. He'll be 9 this year and I'm 25. So
he's not 10 yet?
No. Jesus. He's 8 years old. I was just with him today.
Oh my God.
So, you know, there's a huge difference between us. But with my other biological siblings, it's a journey. I don't know. I love them dearly. And I literally wish, even if we had not grown up in the same household, I wish that we had at least had more time with each other to grow up together, because it's just so hard, like, being an adult and trying to, you know, develop a close bond with somebody, like I said before, that you were supposed to grow up with.
Yeah,
it's different to me. It's not the same as like meeting a new friend. It's like it's more intimate, it's more sensitive to me when you have to get to know a sibling, you know. And it's like, I feel like there has been just so many odds against me when it comes to trying to develop those relationships because of opinions that might have been, you know, shared or implied, that now you look at me a different way than what I want you to. You know what I'm saying? Because there has been so many, I mean, there have been periods and times where as siblings we were together. We were together and we were just being together and bonding and like all the time. And there are like huge gaps where we weren't. So it's like, we don't really know each other for real.
I think a lot of people assume a lot of things based on what they know, the information they've been given, what they see on social media and stuff like that. Like I have a similar situation with my sisters. Like I always wonder what they think about me, because my dad has a relationship with pretty much all of them except for me. So I'm one out of the 4 that he doesn't have a relationship with. I ain't gonna go down that rabbit hole, but the base of the situation is that him and my mom can simply not agree to co-parent.
Same.
So with that, I think that's always been the insecurity in my brain when it comes to developing a relationship with my sisters, is what they think of me.
You know what?
Like what they have been told from my dad or anybody else. And I think, and that goes deeper than just them. Like I always am concerned about like what preconceived notions somebody might have about me. But with my sisters, it's huge for me, because it's just like, I never want them to think that I wasn't around because I chose that or anything like that. Like I never want them to think that about me. So I think that's why it's been hard for me to, you know, be more intentional about the relationship. I have been recently, but it's been hard for me to do that because I'm just like, I don't want them to think that I don't care about them. I don't want them to think I had beef. Like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all my sisters. Like, it's never like that. It all goes back to my father. He's the one who should have made sure that his girls, and he has 4 girls, so y'all know what that means, that we all had a relationship with each other. So it's just like, I think as I've been in therapy too, I've been unpacking that and just kind of realizing that at the end of the day, our relationships are about intentionality. So I'm no longer going to make any excuses. I'm going to be intentional about relationships. If that party of the relationship is not being intentional with me, then that is what it is. You know, I did my part and I tried, and that's all that I can literally do. Like in any relationship. And
it's really hurtful to me because I long for that relationship. I just feel like we were dealt a hand that we could not control. It's not my fault. It ain't my siblings' fault why we didn't grow up in the same house. You know what I'm saying? So we're all trying to navigate it. We're all trying to figure it out. And some of my siblings are closer, and I always feel like a excluded one because, like you said, my mom raised 2 of my siblings, and then, you know, my other sibling was like, my oldest one, she was more like down to have a relationship. She was more, I don't really know how to put it in words, like she was more like ready and open to have a relationship with my mom than I was. So I always feel like, and they kind of relate on different stuff. Like 2 of my siblings have kids and I don't. So they relate a lot more than I can with them. So I always feel excluded no matter what. I've always felt excluded and I always feel excluded. And that makes me feel like so sad. And that's why I really hold my friendship so dear to me.
Yeah, because, I was just about to say that.
Yeah, because I have siblings, but I don't have the relationship with them like I would like to.
Yeah.
And I know that I actually do have that relationship with my friends.
I feel like I definitely hold friendships to such a high standard because I don't have close sibling relationships. So it's like that kind of like takes the place of that.
Yeah.
So it's just like friendship, like hardships and breakups, like affect me actually a lot for that reason, because I don't have like close sibling relationships. And you were talking about just like how you feel excluded when it comes to your sisters, and I don't think people understand just that feeling of exclusion and what that feels like in any relationship. Like that's a very shitty feeling to go through. I've gone through it multiple times, and it's just like, that's why I'm so intentional about making sure everybody's in the loop. Everybody needs to know, everybody needs to be aware. Like I'm not for excluding anybody. Because if you really not rocking with so and so like that, if you're not fucking with them like that, I need you to be like, if it's like that, then you need to be bold enough to tell them. Let them know. And I put people in that scenario to do that because I'm not with exclusion. So it's like, if you got an issue with that person, I'd rather y'all talk about it, hashing out, and then y'all just not gonna be friends, and then that's cool. But it's just like, if that's not the case, we're not about to just be on no, like, I'm not a mean girl. Like mean girl and exclusion stuff, like being weird, moving weird, and that's why, like, with women it's so hard, because it's just like, it's like that so much. It's like, we're gonna, like, low-key try to exclude somebody, and it's just like, I'm not with that.
I'm not the type of person that would, like, be in your face and have a problem with you. I don't do that. But I would have a problem, and I'll just kind of, you know, scoot to the side, not say nothing, kind of keep it to myself until I feel like I'm ready to say something. But for me to be so upfront and say, okay, this is how you make me feel when this happened, because I, you know, X, Y, and Z. And then they be like, oh, you doing too much. I'm worried about my bills. I ain't worried about that.
But see, I can't be around people and have a problem. You know what I'm saying?
I can't either.
I can't do it.
I know.
That's fake to me.
Yeah.
So, in my personal opinion, it's like, I think that's where the distance comes in. If I have a problem, I can't be around you.
I can't
Until
either.
we sort this problem out,
Yeah, same.
I can't be around you. I'm not a person that's just going to be around you and reciprocate energy, or whatever the fuck people like to call it. I don't got time for all that. I'm too damn
Me
grown.
neither. I
don't got time for that.
Mm-mm.
We need to talk about it. And decide what we're gonna do with the friendship or the relationship or whatever from that point, so that I can know what I'm gonna do. Like, I'm not about to be sitting here reciprocating energy. What do I look?
That's exactly what I be saying. I'm like, can we just talk about it? You know, like I said, everybody's love language, everybody's thing is different. So some people don't want to talk about it. Some people want to just move on, and that's fine. But if there's a problem, if you feel some type of way about me, if you feel some type of way about what I said, tell me that.
Right.
Like, just open your mouth and tell me, so we can have a conversation about it like adults and move on.
Yeah.
Or decide whatever we're going to do. We're not going to talk to each other. We're not going to do this. Whatever it is that we're going to do, we can decide that and move on. But don't have a problem with me and then still be in my face or not tell me.
Yeah, that undercover pressure.
Yeah.
That hostility. I can't deal with that.
And y'all already know I'm really having big problems. Not y'all, but she. And y'all know now, I'm really having big problems when I'm seeing you on Instagram at the bar or at the whatever, having drinks, y'all at the mall, and I live down the street from you. You got my number. You could have easily picked up your phone and called me and said, "Hey, what you doing? You want to go here? You want to go there?" But it's intentional.
Those are those little
purpose.
bits of pieces of exclusion
Exactly.
that I was talking about.
Me too.
That's what I'm saying. I'm such an intuitive person. Like, if you linked up down the street from my house and didn't think of me, and you're my quote unquote friend, that's not a coincidence. That's a problem. That was intentional. You were intentional about not informing me and not inviting me. Period.
Yeah. And now I think that, and one thing about my friends that I am so proud of, like, just all of us, except for Serena, I ain't even see her like that because she's so private. And I'm actually not going to take that out. I'm going to keep that in there. But I'm so proud of the growth that we've had, because we've known each other, I don't even know how long at this point, but we've actually, for us to not have, like,
2019?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Really?
2019?
No,
Yeah.
we graduated 2020. So it had to be 2018. Because it was our junior year that we met.
Oh, yeah. You're right then. Dang, you're so
I know, right? But we've known each other, like, not all of our lives, but I'm so proud of our growth. Like, seriously, just seeing us, like, go through what we've gone through and just the conversations that we have, like, I was talking to one person. He was like, oh, y'all be talking about this and that. And I'm like, actually, we don't. We be talking about what we going on our next trip, when we gonna get together again, how is your job, what you doing finance. Like, literally, these are the conversations that we have. We actually don't sit up and talk about niggas all day.
That's what niggas think, though.
They
really think we sit in these living rooms, drink our wine, and talk about them all day. We be talking about when we going to Jamaica.
Yes, literally.
when we going to this place, when we experiencing this, when we experiencing that. Well, I'm not saying we don't ever talk about niggas, but they really sit and think that we are like, they are like the topic of our conversation.
We be
I'm just like
all over the place with the conversation.
No.
So, and for that, like, I'm so, like, even in that, I feel like there's so much growth. There's so much, like, maturity in us. And I am so proud. Like, I was just telling Maya, I was telling one of my coworkers, like, what all my friends do, and I am so proud to say, oh yeah, my friend doing this, we doing this, yeah, and we got our degrees in this, and it's like, and to some people that's not a lot, because I have been made to feel like my accomplishments, like graduating college, was nothing, like anybody can do it. And I'm like, yeah, I know that.
But I recently had to remind myself that that's a huge deal, because I'm a first generation, so like I'm literally the first person in my immediate family to
and you
graduate.
didn't have nobody to get no advice from or
nobody.
Anything. Yeah.
To get a 4-year university degree, I'm the first person to get a bachelor's in my family. Like, so, and for a minute, I feel like I downplayed myself. Like, I walked around like that wasn't a big deal, but it's a huge deal. So if you're somebody who is a first generation, suck that in. And I just feel like it's never too late for any relationship. It doesn't matter how much time has went past. Like, it's just all about intentionality. And even if y'all come to a conclusion that y'all do need to love each other from a distance or whatever it is, that's fine as well. I think I always had an idea in my mind, because I don't have the picture perfect relationships with everybody, that I know that something was wrong with me, but that's not necessarily true, you know? So I think just not comparing your relationships to anybody else's or what anybody else's life looks like is important, and just knowing that it's never too late. And then some people do need to be put in the category of, you know, I'm gonna love you, but from over there, and that's okay.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't feel like it's nothing wrong, because I don't think that. So I don't feel like it's nothing wrong with that. And that doesn't mean that I have a beef with you or that I have issue with you. We just not on the same page, and that's okay with me. At this point, I'm okay with not being on the same page, and there's no love lost. Like I said, I still love you. I still, you know, I'm gonna support you from a distance.
Because you can't choose your family.
Exactly.
You can choose your friends.
Yeah, you can't choose your family.
So if you are out there and you feel like you don't have the closest relationship with a dad, a mom, a grandma, a auntie, a uncle, that is okay. And nobody should make you feel bad about that or anything like that, because I know a lot of people try to make it seem like, well, that's your family. Okay, and what else?
Okay.
They can still be toxic. They can still be, you know, like people that you don't need to have in your immediate circle of support, and it's okay.
Yes, well, my battery's about to die now. So it was good combos, though.
Yes,
I think we had a very productive episode.
Conversation.
Yes, and thank you so much for coming on my channel.
Thank you for having me. I hope y'all like to have me back.
Oh yes, for sure. I'm gonna have all my little crazy friends on here, y'all. All my friends are crazy, so I'm gonna have all of them on here because they's a mess. They a mess. So we're gonna have. I gotta plan it out in my head. I ain't got it yet, but I will have it. And she gonna come back. We're gonna have another episode. So like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Y'all already know what it is, and that is it for this video. Thank y'all for watching.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Baby, you don't know